When people search for new apartment horror stories, they expect the typical tales of strange noises, flickering lights, or a cranky landlord who refuses to fix the plumbing. But the truth is that some apartments carry scars deeper than peeling paint and moldy walls. Scars that cannot be scrubbed away with bleach or masked with fresh wallpaper. Imagine stepping into your first night in a new place, exhausted from unpacking, collapsing onto the mattress that still smells faintly of plastic wrap, only to realize you are not alone. That is where this begins, with the deceptively warm glow of a move-in day, with the smell of cardboard boxers, bubble wrap popping under your shoes, and the faint hum of your neighbor's television bleeding through thin walls. The young couple who had just moved in thought they'd found a bargain. 2 bedrooms, high ceilings, old wooden floors that groaned but felt sturdy underfoot. They didn't care that the rent was suspiciously low, or that the last tenant had moved out so quickly she left half her belongings behind. They ignored the way the landlord's eyes flickered when they asked why no one stayed here for long. In their excitement, they didn't notice how cold the back hallway felt compared to the rest of the apartment, or how the bedroom closet door never seemed to sit flush against the frame. On their first night, as they drifted into sleep, the sound of footsteps echoed above them, rhythmic and deliberate, even though they lived on the top floor. At first, they laughed, chalking it up to the building settling. But when those footsteps shifted to inside their bedroom, their laughter died in their throats. The days that followed revealed the kind of details that usually fueled the most disturbing new apartment horror stories. Every morning, the couple found the kitchen window unlocked, though they swore they had bolted it the night before. Their bathroom mirror would fog, even without hot water running, and words sometimes appeared in the condensation short messages, like "Dante stay," or "She is still here." One evening, while unpacking in the living room, they heard a dragging sound from the sealed storage closet in the hallway. The landlord had warned them never to tamper with that door, claiming it was just insulation and pipes behind it, but the sounds were too distinct. Something heavy scraping against the floor, stopping abruptly whenever they stood still to listen. The woman in the couple, Maya, grew convinced someone else lived within the walls. She began leaving small offerings, food, trinkets, squints outside the closet door, a quiet plea for peace. Her partner, Daniel, mocked her for it, but even he couldn't explain why their television sometimes turned itself on at 3 in the morning, playing static so loud it rattled the windows. At night, Daniel started hearing whispers, not words exactly, but the suggestion of a voice too close to his ear, even though Maya was asleep on the other side of the bed. When he finally admitted to hearing the voice, he also confessed it spoke his name. The voice didn't sound angry or threatening. It sounded patient, hungry, waiting. On the 4th week, Maya found the mirror in the hallway, the one the previous tenant had left, leaning against the wall. It was cracked at the edges, framed in tarnished silver, and heavy enough that they had no way to move it without special help. She noticed something wrong almost immediately. The reflection of their apartment looked darker than the actual room, as though lit by a weaker bulb. Sometimes her reflection lagged behind her movements, delayed by just half a second. Other times, her reflection smiled when she wasn't smiling. Daniel dismissed her fears, telling her the stress of moving was playing tricks on her mind. But the proof became undeniable one night when they argued. Maya stormed past the mirror and caught sight of herself still standing in the reflection, watching her, lips moving silently. She screamed, calling Daniel, but by the time he rushed over, the reflection was normal again. That night, Daniel dreamed he was walking through the hallway of their apartment. Except the hallway kept stretching longer and longer, the walls closing in as if the building itself were swallowing him. When he woke, he discovered scratches on his arms, fresh and bleeding, though his nails were short. They decided to confront the landlord, demanding to know the truth about what happened in this building. The landlord's face turned pale, and he muttered that every tenant who had lived there before had broken their lease early. Some left in the middle of the night, abandoning all their possessions. Others never left at all. When Daniel pressed 4 names, the landlord simply said, "You don't want to know her name, not if she's already chosen you by now." Their story mirrored countless terrifying new apartment horror stories shared online, yet theirs was unfolding in real time, with no pause button. No safety net. The night stretched endlessly, every sound amplified, every shadow carrying weight. Maya began speaking in her sleep, muttering phrases in a language Daniel didn't recognize. Sometimes she whispered his name, sometimes she hissed, and once she woke up with her eyes wide open, staring at him. But she claimed she remembered nothing. The closet door began to rattle on its own, shaking violently as though something inside was desperate to get out. Daniel considered breaking it open, but the memory of those heavy dragging sounds froze him in place. One stormy evening, when the wind howled through the cracks of the building, the couple heard laughter. Not a child's laughter, not an adult's either, but something broken and jagged echoing through their apartment as though the walls themselves were mocking them. In a moment of grim humor, Daniel tried to joke, at least the rent's cheap, but even he couldn't laugh at his own words. That same night, Maya disappeared. Daniel woke to find the bed empty, the sheets cold, and the bathroom light flickering. He searched every room, every corner, even the stairwell outside, but she was gone. Only when he walked past the hallway mirror did he see her, standing inside the reflection, pounding her fists against the glass, screaming silently for him to help. And behind her reflection, something else lurked, tall, featureless, its hands resting on her shoulders. Daniel's story ended the way many new apartment horror stories do. In silence. His neighbors claimed they heard him screaming, pounding on walls, begging for someone to help. But by the time police arrived, the apartment was empty. No furniture, no boxers, no clothes. Not even the mirror remained. The landlord refused to answer questions, and within days, the unit was listed again for rent. A fresh coat of paint, covering the last traces of its occupants. Some say Daniel was taken into the mirror with Maya, their souls trapped in that dark reflection where time stretches endlessly. Others whispered that he escaped but never spoke again, his mind shattered by what he saw. The apartment stands waiting for its next tenant, and maybe you are reading this because you are moving soon. Scrolling through stories to calm your nerves, searching for red flags in your new lease. Remember, not every sound is the pipes. Not every shadow is your imagination, and not every mirror is loyal to its reflection. These are not just tales to spook children before bed. These are warnings carved into the silence of walls that never forget. The next time you hear footsteps in your empty hallway, the next time you see condensation on your bathroom mirror with words you didn't write, think carefully about the price you paid for comfort. You may find that you are not the first to live there. You may also find you will not be the last. And now, if you've managed to stay through this nightmare, your curiosity already betrays you. You crave more, and the shadows are happy to provide. If you dare, click to the next story on this channel, where we descend even deeper into the kinds of horrors that don't stay neatly contained within four walls. Because once you've opened the door to these new apartment horror stories, you could not close it again. You've been warned.